Today we've got a fan favorite, Scotty Kilmer.
Oh, crapping in their pants. If they don't get that federal government money, guess what? They're not going to be building these things because electric charging networks are not profitable for most businesses. California, something like 80 to 90% of the charging is done at people's own homes. So they're only going to do 10 to 20% of the charging on the road. And there's not enough of it to make it profitable for people. There still aren't enough electric cars out there. When I travel across the country, I'm always watching them. Half of them are completely empty with no cars. One I was at, there were 5 charging stations. There was 1 car sitting there, and this was prime time.
And I just want to pause here, Scotty, to explain something to you that maybe is lost on you. I know it's been a while since you probably started a business, but the way it works is when you first start a business, there are a lot of sort of sunk costs, things that cost money but don't return an immediate profit. Imagine you're doing a lemonade stand. Well, before you make any money at all, you need to buy lemons, you need to set up the stand, you need to buy the sugar and get the water and pay somebody to make the actual lemonade. And so you have that initial cost, that initial investment to get going, and then as you sell more and more lemonade, eventually you will make a profit. So profitability isn't something that really ever starts at day one from a business. It becomes something that you realize later on. Amazon did this, Facebook did this, so many businesses. In fact, Tesla was famously not profitable for many, many years, and then since then has been on an absolute tear, although 2024 was a bit dicey. So we'll see what they do in 2025. Point being, this is how business works. And I know you have all this great knowledge about being a mechanic. And so I apologize if this is something new to you that you haven't really seen or experienced before. But just stick with me because this is how things go in the world of entrepreneurship. And this isn't even to mention that the average gas station costs between $500,000 and $5 million to set up and only allows a profit margin of 1% to 2%. Now, don't get me wrong, gas stations make money. The average income for a sole proprietorship gas station last year was $1.3 million, but very little of that actually came from selling gas. The station makes between 5 and 15 cents per gallon, while they make 20 to 40% of the price of Slim Jims, beer, and circus peanuts. Gas gets people in the door, but it's not how they turn a profit. And remember, gas in the US is subsidized heavily, keeping the price artificially low. So yeah, it's one of those things where the economics of gas and electric vehicle charging stations might not be the best, but what they are is what's called a loss leader. They get people in the door, and then that's how you can make money on it, and which is why many of the gas companies are installing EV chargers at their gas stations. Now, if you're a fan of EVs but haven't yet pulled the trigger or maybe looking to upgrade, I've got a surprise for you, and it comes in the form of today's sponsor, Climate Exchange. Longtime viewers will know that I've been working with Climate Exchange for a long time, almost since the beginning of this channel. And this year is a really special year with their 9th EV raffle. This time, they're raffling off a grand prize of $120,000 to custom order any EV on the market. That's over 60 different makes and models, from Rivians to Teslas to Lucids to Porsches, you name it. You decide. Plus, they cover all the taxes and fees. Now, most of the other EV raffles you look at will lock you into a pre-picked car. Not this one. You're in the driver's seat. In addition to the grand prize, the second place wins $12,500 and third place gets you $7,500. Oh, and here's the kicker. They've only got 5,000 tickets and there's only about 1,000 left that are unsold. That means that your chances of winning this are way higher than any of the other raffles that you've probably seen out there. Sales close February 26th, right around the corner, so do not wait. Head over to carbonraffle.org/Ben Sullins and grab your ticket, and you could be driving off in your dream EV next week. That's carbonraffle.org/Ben Sullins. Now let's get back to the video.
As a Chicago director says, and I quote, "I'm very nervous right now that the Trump executive order is going to limit Illinois' ability to achieve its EV future." Well, guess what, Illinois? You want an EV future? Go ahead and pay for it yourself. If there is a business that would be totally non-profitable, it would be building and operating electric charging stations. It's so unprofitable that they make those things by themselves in the back of a parking lot or sitting out somewhere. They're not like a gas station, right? Gas stations are very profitable.
Well, Scotty, as we just talked about, gas stations do not make a lot of money. They are not highly profitable, especially not from the gas itself. And yes, I would agree with the guy in Illinois there that with Trump's executive order and the government's unwillingness to pay their debts, it's something definitely to be concerned about. But in terms of how this is actually playing out, the idea that you can put an EV charger in the back of a parking lot is a feature, not a bug. EV chargers aren't only available at massively expensive stations like gas is. They don't require these massive underground tanks polluting the environment and creating massive health hazards where you can't put anything on that land for 20 years afterwards. It's not like that. There's already electric infrastructure there, and you just have to tap into it. Now, the city of Chicago is building some of their infrastructure at city buildings and parking facilities, as well as healthcare centers and housing complexes to better serve people who don't have access to home charging. They can do this because, as I mentioned, they don't need these massive infrastructure, tanks, and everything to hold their highly combustible, polluting product. Now, in Los Angeles, as another example, the Street Lights Division is currently on track to install 100,000 EV chargers by leveraging the existing streetlight infrastructure. The wires that are already in the streetlights work perfect. All you have to do is put a charger on it, and there you go. People that don't have a place to charge at home now have one, making it even more convenient for them than going and filling up. But it is worth noting here that if you listen to my podcast, Scotty, you'd know several retailers and convenience store companies are getting into the charging business because they understand that people are going to come there, charge, and then buy something, and that's where they really make their money. Walmart is a big one, along with Costco. Also, BP, Buc-ee's, Pilot, Shell, 7-Eleven, and even Sheetz. Sheetz logged 2 million EV charging sessions in 1 month of 2023. And if you figure an average charge there might be around a half an hour, what do you think these people are going to do? They're going to go inside and spend money. That equals about 1 million hours of extra hanging around a Sheetz with nothing else to do except spend money. So it's pretty obvious that these companies know how this business works. And unfortunately, I don't think you really looked into it. So maybe this is helpful for you.
There are people working in the gas station, watching the pump so people don't steal things, so people don't have problems. Or, especially since electric vehicles are new, a lot of people don't know much about them, helping the people learn how to operate the chargers. These people do not exist because they want to go on the down low. They want to go cheap. They want to build electric chargers that, well, we don't want to have a stand there and have to pay people and heat and air condition it. We'll just stick them out there and then the vandals will rip them apart and steal them. But what do we care? It's federal money, right?
It's actually a legit problem that vandals have cut EV charging cables in the past to sell the metal, or just to be jerks. I don't know. But also, if you'd be listening to my podcast there called The Daily Charge Up, you'd know that ChargePoint has developed a cut-resistant cable with hardened steel, and it's rolling it out to all of its chargers and will make it available to other companies by licensing it. So, legit problem there, Scotty, for you to point out, and it's one that thankfully they're solving.
In 2010, Norway's vehicle sales were only 1% electric vehicles. But last year, 2024, it was 88.9% of the new vehicles bought. So they are going to electric vehicles, right? Now, as far as I'm concerned, this makes sense. Norway is only 5.52 million people, right? A lot smaller than the United States. There's a lot less people buying them. Now, this will really blow your mind. Norway is so small, it has 148,000 square miles. The United States has 3.8 million square miles. So they don't have far to go, and there's not that many of them. So let them electrify. Maybe they can perfect the whole system. After all, it's kind of cold in Norway most of the time. So maybe they can perfect the use of batteries in cold weather. Who knows?
Honestly, this is kind of fair. I mean, just because a country is smaller doesn't mean its people drive less. But that is the case here. The average American drives around 13,500 miles, at least back in 2022 when we last studied that, and the overall passenger vehicle miles for Norway was just about half of that, around 6,800 miles driven per year. Now, EVs drove more miles than diesel vehicles for the first time in 2022, and there was a steep decline in road fuel use in Norway for passenger vehicles after 2016 when it peaked. Meanwhile, the number of drivers here has been on the rise. So, smaller country, less mileage, EVs make sense, right? But what about China? China has about 3.75 million square miles, or 9.7 million square kilometers of land, compared to the U.S., which I think you're a little off there, Scotty. I saw it at about 3.62 million square miles, or 9.4 million square kilometers. So China is slightly larger in landmass, but not by a ton. And then in terms of people, China has about 4 times the amount of people that the U.S. has. And how are EVs doing over there? Well, you may have guessed it if you've paid attention at all to the worldwide EV movement, that China is the world's largest EV market. And in November of 2024, the new energy vehicle sales, which include plug-in hybrids and battery electric vehicles, eclipsed 1.5 million units in that 1 month alone. That was their 3rd consecutive monthly record high. And that right there accounted for nearly 50% of all vehicles sold in China for that month. So the deal is that China saw the EV transition coming back in the year 2000 and made a massive bet on where they would be 25 years later. They have invested heavily in all of these industries, including supply chains, refining, everything. And that is essentially how they are able to do this. And this is similar to what Norway did as well, making massive investments in charging infrastructure and the manufacturing and importing and everything that is necessary to make the EV transition as smooth as possible. And Norway, because they were so much smaller than China, have achieved a much greater market penetration, as you pointed out, Scotty. So they are smaller, but they also made these investments a long time ago, which made the transition smoother. Looking at China, they're on track to be fully electric before long as well, which is very comparable, if not more difficult, than what we're doing here in the US. So it's possible, and it's not just because Norway is smaller. They just got there quicker because they're smaller.
Now, here's a guy with a Cybertruck who's mad, and I'm laughing my butt off for 2 reasons. One, he says, my Tesla Cybertruck got totaled after it was sideswiped by an e-scooter. All in all, I paid $198,000 for the Cybertruck, but the insurance is only offering me a fair market value of $77,000. But I still owe the bank $171,500. Okay, well, there's 2 things that are hilarious about this. And the biggest one, of course, is this. How the heck did a Cybertruck get destroyed by being T-boned by an e-scooter? A little bitty e-scooter. Come on now. That shows how poorly made these Cybertrucks. Massive Cybertruck. A little e-scooter hits it and it totals the vehicle.
This, my friends, is how misinformation is born. He is quoting there this article posted on Torque News, which parrots exactly what he just said, and it comes to us originally from Reddit. Reddit, if you don't know, is like a social network, but it's more kind of anonymous and forum-based versus, pictures and videos and those kind of things. Now, this person here, Human Potato Hybrid, posted this article here, or this, whatever this is, this apparent tweet screenshot with this photo saying exactly what Scotty did, that he paid $198,000, there was a fee, et cetera, and they're only going to give him a $77,000 fair market value. But then if we look at who this person is posting this, we can see, they have some questionable interests here on Reddit. In fact, they're moderating an adult community. So I'm not sure this is the most truthful account, especially since it's a screenshot that doesn't appear to have where the original source was. And then if I go on TinEye and I do a reverse image search of that image posted in there, the image that was used in that tweet, that fake tweet, I can see that this has actually been used in a bunch of other different articles throughout the world, including this Turkish website here, which I've had translated, so forgive me if any of this is kind of fuzzy, but that photo was actually from the first Tesla Cybertruck crash, which was not with an e-scooter, but with a Toyota Corolla. This is why I think this is misinformation or fake news, because the image that was used there, it's also called deceptive imagery persuasion, or DIP, where they're using one image and saying something, but those things are not connected, because that image definitely was not from an e-scooter. You can also see that this was posted by other articles, and here's a better shot. This is the exact image that was used. So yeah, if an e-scooter did hit a Cybertruck and total it, that would be nuts. But don't believe everything you read, especially when it's coming from a fake screenshot of something that was reused from a different article. This is how misinformation or fear, uncertainty, doubt is born, by people like Scotty taking one little article and just assuming it's true and running wild with it. And if you want to see another video where a much more high-profile figure has done such a thing, check out this video over here where I debunk Joe Rogan's latest EV rant that he went on. Members, if you want to talk with me in the forum, you know how to get there. If you're not a member yet, check out the join button down below. You get backstage access. We get to communicate directly and actually work on these projects together. So I'm grateful for all of you that are members, and I welcome anyone else that's interested in joining. That's it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you back here next time.